So the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier is just 1 week away, and I am so excited for it. Mostly because it seems like it's going to be a continuation of the Captain America movies, which I love, if you couldn't tell by the Captain America shield in back of me. However, before we see what happens next, I want to go back and explore something that's always seemed weird to me about the Captain America movies, and that's the Super Solider Serum. Like, you're really telling me that nobody could figure out how to recreate the Super Solider Serum? I can already tell it's gonna be a really big tongue twister for the rest of the video. But you're really telling me that nobody could figure out how to recreate it after Steve got it? Not even Howard Stark? However, I think that I have figured out exactly why nobody has been able to recreate the Super Solider Serum. And that's because it's missing its one key secret ingredient: love. No, just kidding, it's not love, but it's not far off from that, because I think that the secret ingredient to the Super Solider Serum is none other than the heart-shaped herb from Black Panther. So before I get into the theory, I just want to say that I technically did not come up with the theory. I actually found out about this theory on a Reddit post by Reddit user 4dimensional Toilet. But the only reason that I was looking for that post was because I had the idea, looked it up to see if there was anybody else who came up with it, found a CinemaBlend article that led me to the Reddit post. Also, both the Reddit post and the CinemaBlend article came out in 2018, so not only was I not original, but I was about 3 years late. But anyway, with that said, let's get into the theory. So first I want to address why this is even a theory in the first place. And there's actually 2 reasons for it. One reason is that both Captain America and Black Panther have similar power sets and similar ways to how they get their powers. They both have enhanced endurance, strength, speed, and agility. And they both consume some sort of liquid to get those powers. Albeit one is from a scientist injecting them with it, and the other is part of a spiritual ritual where they actually drink it. But similar concepts. But the second reason, and the one that I think is a little bit more compelling, is that they both have connection to vibranium. Captain America's shield, as you know, is made out of vibranium, and Black Panther is the king of a country called Wakanda, where vibranium just plays a minor role. It's just, you know, what their clothes, buildings, transportation is made out of, and it really just is what their whole economy is built on, but just a minor role. And I think that's what makes this theory so interesting and plausible, because these 2 characters already have a few connections, so it makes sense that a big question of one of them could be answered with the other. Anyway, let's get into the actual theory. So the theory starts when Dr. Erskine, who created the serum, gives the serum to Johann Schmidt, aka Red Skull. But the serum hadn't been perfected yet, which results in a minor side effect, just Johann Schmidt gets a red skull. Hence the name, Red Skull. Then fast forward to when Dr. Erskine recruits Steve Rogers for the Super Solider Serum, when he's now working with Howard Stark. And I think that's the key reason why the serum worked on Steve Rogers and not on Red Skull. When Red Skull got the serum, Erskine wasn't working with Howard Stark. But when Steve Rogers got the serum, he was working with Howard Stark. Now we know that Howard Stark had gotten his hands on vibranium before the events of the first Avenger, because he's able to give Captain America his vibranium shield. And we know that vibranium primarily comes out of Wakanda. So I think it's safe to assume that that's where Stark got his vibranium. Also, in Age of Ultron, Steve and Tony seem to immediately relate Wakanda with vibranium when Bruce mentions it.
Wakanda? Wakanda.
So we know that Howard Stark must have traveled to Wakanda at some point before the events of the first Avenger to get his hands on vibranium. However, according to this theory, that's not all that he came back with. He also obtained the heart-shaped herb. While in Wakanda, I'm sure that Howard Stark would have heard something about the Black Panther and his powers and thought, hey, that could be the key to the Super Solider Serum. So then he would have started looking more into the Black Panther and how he gets his powers, which would have led him to finding out about the heart-shaped herb. Now at this point it's possible that Howard just stole the heart-shaped herb, but I think that he was given it in exchange for keeping the secret of Wakanda a secret. Now you might be thinking that it's a bit unlikely that the Wakandans would just give away something as sacred as the heart-shaped herb. But by the look in the room in Black Panther, it seems like they're growing an insane amount of it, and they're only using it for giving each new Black Panther his powers and then restoring them after each battle for the throne when they're briefly taken away, which can't happen all that often. So I think they're producing way too much of it and could have given Stark one heart-shaped herb if it meant keeping Wakanda's secret a secret. So Stark brings back the heart-shaped herb and combines it with Erskine's failed serum. The heart-shaped herb then stabilizes the serum, which prevents Steve Rogers from getting a red skull like Schmidt. But then, as seen in the movie, Erskine is killed immediately after, and the last of the serum is destroyed, with only Stark knowing the truth about the Super Soldier Serum. And I think with this in mind, some other weird stuff in the MCU starts to make a little bit more sense. For instance, why Bruce Banner becomes the Hulk. In the MCU version of the Hulk, Bruce Banner is hired by the US government to recreate the Super Soldier Serum, although he doesn't know that's what he's actually doing. However, he gets the serum wrong, resulting in him becoming the Hulk. Now, the reasoning for this in the MCU so far is that Bruce Banner used gamma radiation instead of Vita radiation, which is what Erskine used when he gave Steve Rogers the serum. However, I think a much better explanation is that they were missing one key ingredient, one ingredient that they didn't even know existed. Heart-shaped herb, if you hadn't been paying attention. I've said that a few times now. I also think that this theory may give an explanation for where Howard and Maria Stark were going when they died. In Captain America Civil War, during the barf scene, Maria Stark says that they're going on a little vacation to the Bahamas. Howard Stark then says,
"We might have to make a quick stop."
To which Tony replies,
"At the Pentagon, right?"
This at the surface is just supposed to be a joke about how Howard Stark is a workaholic, but I think it has another layer to it. The pit stop that Howard Stark mentioned may be to Wakanda to get more of the heart-shaped herb for his new serum. This would explain why he had the serum in his trunk when he was killed by the Winter Soldier. And it also explains why it didn't work when Hydra tried to use it on the other Winter Soldiers, because it hadn't been perfected yet by the heart-shaped herb. Now, there's only one problem to this theory, and that's Bucky. Bucky receives a version of the serum from Zola when he's captured in the first Avenger. This helps him survive the fall from the train. This at first seems to debunk the theory because Zola wouldn't have ever had his hands on the heart-shaped herb. He wouldn't even have known about it. But that's just it. Zola didn't have access to the heart-shaped herb, which is why it didn't actually work at first. Sure, it helped Bucky survive the fall, but it didn't turn him into a super soldier. No, that doesn't happen until Zola gets his hands on Bucky again, aka after he starts working for S.H.I.E.L.D., aka after Zola becomes in close proximity to Howard Stark. And we know that they are working together because Howard is looking for him in Avengers Endgame.
"Looking for Dr. Zola, have you seen him?"
So maybe Zola overheard something, or maybe Howard Stark told him directly about the heart-shaped herb and how it's the key to the Super Soldier Serum. And I'm also going to assume that Howard Stark had some of the herb left for when he eventually got to the stage in his process to where he needed it. However, once he finally got to that stage, the herb had long been stolen by Zola and used on Bucky. Which means that when Howard Stark is killed by Bucky, or the Winter Soldier, he is being killed by the exact reason that he needed to be there in the first place. The only reason he's there is to get the heart-shaped herb, and the only reason he needs to get the heart-shaped herb is because Zola used the heart-shaped herb that he had on Bucky. Now, does this all seem far-fetched? Yes. Am I out of focus? Yes. Do I think that this is actually going to be revealed in the movies or the Disney Plus shows? I don't know, probably not. But that's the fun of theories, isn't it? Sure, it may not fit as well as you want it to, but it's just a little bit of headcanon. However, if this is eventually actually revealed in the MCU, I'm just saying, I think it opens up the door for Sam Wilson to get the Super Soldier Serum. And that would be pretty cool. But whether or not that actually happens in Falcon and Winter Soldier or somewhere else down the line, this is still a fun theory, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And also, please remember to like, subscribe, check out some of my other videos, and with that said, that's a wrap.